Hello viewers and welcome to another WRC video. Again, back in New Zealand, certainly one of my favourite rallies so far. I thought I'd do one of the extended sections you see in the game. So some of them are slightly longer where they join all the other sections together to make one extended rally. I really like this feature, you know, reusing the sections but really adding an awful lot to the challenge that's available, and you'll see that in this video. Tricky sections here. I'm running my brightness, and I'll mention this again later, on very low setting to actually film the screen, otherwise you tend to get a lot of glare, and so these shadows are virtually pitch black for me. It's very dark in the shadows. That's quite tricky, so when you're going through shadows like that, you're listening very intently to your co-driver. Quite slow around here, very bumpy, a lot of undulation. This particular texture does feel quite boggy when you're driving. You really do notice the difference in handling. Before the transformation there onto the gravel, and again you notice a big change in the texture.
Right 3 into hairpin left. Right 3 into left 3.
And some tricky corners.
60 over bridge.
Trying to find the flow, and here's a mistake. Damage to the car there. Jumped too hard on the bridge. I didn't expect the jump to actually inflict that much damage, but the car came down quite heavily, and you can see I've damaged the front of the car. Didn't seem to affect handling too much at this stage, but either way it wasn't helpful. Some damage was inflicted. So again, you're never really flat out. You're always giving a squirt of power, sending the car into a slide, and then before another dab of the brake quickly for the next section. It's very much about getting into a flow, getting a feel for it, and then once you've got that flow, you can really go with one corner after another corner into the next one. And if you make a mistake, you can find that it can take a couple of corners before you're back up to speed and really into the flow of the stage. It's nice to see it all laid out. There's more challenge here than you'd ever find in, say, a game like Dirt by a mile, simply because of the complexity of the course and what you're thinking about in terms of input. Say every surface has its own feel to it. If you have any questions about the game, do send those in. I'll be seeing the developers shortly, and we'll have a developer interview up on the site in the next week or so. I asked a lot of you about your questions for the early preview, and the developers saw a lot of those, and obviously they've improved the game from your feedback. So commenting on videos like these, you know, positive comments telling us what you want to see. It might not make it into this game, it might make it into a future game, but it's always nice to get that feedback from you guys, because that helps with future developments on these things. And you know, we all want a great rally game. You know, rally's a great sport. It's incredible what these guys do, and so a game that represents that is always great to see. As I'm still focusing there, just trying to avoid the rocks, and threw me slightly off there. I avoided the rocks because if I hit those, it wasn't going to be good for the car, so it's better to just lose a bit of time. Now at the moment, this run isn't necessarily what I would call a speed run. It's a sensible, let's get a clean video done, rather than pedal to the metal, absolutely flat out. Having said that, there's a lot of sections here where you are, you know, you've got to be quite tentative and really be quite gentle in the way you accelerate and how you approach these slides. Into a right 2 there, but that wasn't too bad. The thing with hairpins and right 2s, I mean, right 2s is an interesting one. You know, some you have to handbrake and some you don't. It really is a judgment call. First gear tends to be very short, so second gear tends to use the torque well and get you out the corner perfectly. Of course, this is a long stage. This one's near 6 minutes in length, which for a lot of gamers is more than enough, it has to be said. And there are a number of these in the game as well. We'll be looking at a few more of them later, but I'll also be showing you guys some of the special stages. That's going to be next on the list. Special stages along with some of the other extended rallies, and then trying out some of the different car classes and looking at some of the different modes as well. And eventually, once the game's released, we'll be looking a little bit more at tuning and getting the most out of your car. And I'll be looking at community as well and talking to you guys about sending in your videos, and then I can show some of those off as well, because it is always nice to show off some of your skills as you learn some of these stages. Nice high-speed section here, but when you go over the jumps you've always got to be conscious, you know, on the brakes there, because I didn't know how far the car would jump, and if it goes too far you're straight into the wall and it's all over. Nice effects on the puddles, lighting effects, those details. Very tricky section now. I couldn't see where I was going here. I was just looking for the lighter parts in the actual surface, but on my screen it was much darker than you actually see on this camera here. The camera picks up a lot on the light from the screen, so I had to take that really slow.
Right 4 into left 4.
So I lost a lot of time in that section. Gentle, getting back up to speed. Again, when you lose that flow, you just lose that momentum. Again, now I didn't see how the corner turned away from me, but it gives you an insight into the stage views, and that's it for another video of WRC3, and as ever we'll have more soon.